am I supposed to do with that? I woke up this morning all excited to watch the PlayStation 5 experience stream. You know, excited to get some real details, to find out all the missing pieces of the puzzle we don't have yet as we get ever closer to launch day. And I watched the entire thing, and just at every turn, I was just like, still don't have a reason to buy one. I'm not being facetious when I say that. I am being serious. I am literally struggling to find an excuse, a reason, a purpose to own a PlayStation 5, especially at launch. The only loophole that I have is this. I am an YouTuber who talks about gaming and gaming hardware and things like that, so it makes sense for me to have a PlayStation 5 so I can talk about PlayStation 5 games and accessories and services and whatnot, just so I can have it there and speak from personal experience. That's the only loophole I have. An excuse to own one is, well, it might be handy for some content from time to time. There is no legitimate reason I can find, just as a gamer who doesn't do this, to actually own a PlayStation 5, especially at launch. There is nothing special, unique, interesting, unicorn about the PlayStation 5 that says, well, I need to own that because if I don't own that, I'll be missing out on this. Nothing. Literally nothing of worth. Hello again, I am Blunty. If you wouldn't mind, before we get into this surely uncontroversial and won't make anybody mad at all in the comment section before they finish watching the video, could you go ahead and slap a thumb down before you get angry at me? Leave a comment about what you think I might be saying next. What were your first impressions of it? Things like that. I hate that I have to beg for this kind of interaction, but we all must do our part to fight against the evil YouTube algorithm because it just likes kicking the side of my head in over and over and over again, and I don't know why. I only slept with its mother twice. So I am going to try and be fair about this. I don't have an axe to grind with Sony or anything like that, and I will sing the praises of the PlayStation exclusives like Spider-Man, like God of War, like Ghost of Tsushima, until your ears are bleeding from the unrelenting gushing of praise. There's a really good reason to own a PlayStation 4, not so much the 5. Would you like to know why? Right off the bat, we whiffed. Because literally the first thing that they showed us after showing us the usual sort of get hyped intro montage thing of little glimpses of games is a piece of text that says, what you're about to see is not actually running on a PlayStation 5, it's running on a PC. Emulating the PlayStation 5 experience. Let's divide that line because I've already seen some people confused. No, it's not emulating a PlayStation 5. It's not like an emulator like you would emulate your Super Nintendo on your PC or something like that. It's emulating the experience, which means they're running it on PC. They're running the PC code at settings that they expect the game to look like on the PlayStation 5. It's not the first time Sony have done this. They've been caught out doing this on E3 stages time and time and time again because they don't tell people when they do this. They've just told people this time so nobody can go, hey, look, you lied. That wasn't PlayStation gameplay at all. That was a PC gameplay. You lied. You tricked. You tried to trick us. Well, apparently they're finally tired of trying to trick you, because they never get away with it, and so they're just putting their hand up. Yeah, okay, it's not PlayStation 5, this is the PC one. So it's console exclusive. Final Fantasy XVI console exclusive. Which means I don't have a reason to play it on the PlayStation 5, because I have a nice gaming PC. In fact, I have two nice gaming PCs. So even if I did love Final Fantasy, I still don't have a reason to own a PlayStation 5 for that, because it's going to look better and run better on my PC. Next up, we had Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is the full name. We'll just call it Spidey Miles from here on in. And 2 months ago, I made a video about this, and I said flat out to people, it will not be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. There is no way that this property, they're going to miss out on digging into the pockets of PlayStation 4 owners who aren't ready to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 yet. And I copped some shit for that. People are like, no, Sony, you're going to use this to sell the PlayStation 5. This is going to be their flagship title. This is going to be their Halo for PlayStation. No, it's not. It's coming for the PlayStation 4. It's been confirmed today. I told you so. To be fair, it will look better and play better on the PlayStation 5, no doubt, because obviously the PlayStation 5 is more powerful and it'll do the ray tracing stuff that the PlayStation 4 won't do. But none of that is going to make the game more fun, is it? In fact, it may even make the game worse, because some of the gameplay they showed off of Spider-Man Miles Morales running on the PlayStation 5 is so get cluttered with bright, shiny lights and explosions and stuff. It obscured one of the best things about Spider-Man game in the first place. And again, I'll remind you, like I said 2 months ago, let's not fool ourselves. This Miles Morales thing originally was planned to be a DLC. Zero doubt. And then they said, well, we need something for PlayStation 5, so they stretched it out into a full game. It's not going to be a full game. It's going to be a sort of 5 to 10 hour experience. We already know that as well. So it's just stretched out DLC and made fancier to show off some of the new features of the PlayStation 5, like ray tracing, for example, which means some of the best things about the combat in that Spider-Man game, the original Spider-Man game, was the beautiful clarity and liquid movement of the combat is going to be obscured by these big, bright, shiny lights and bolts of electricity and stuff. Did you notice that? Was that just me? Because the combat looked worse because you couldn't see the combat on the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 version might actually be worse because it looks fancier. It also demonstrates another thing I said, in that the super duper SSD on the PlayStation 5 is not going to be required to play Spider-Man. And Sony was out there, oh, look how fast the web's swinging through the city works because of our super duper SSD. Well, it's coming to PlayStation 4 anyway, so obviously you don't actually need that to make the game work, do you? All of that said, I'm still very excited for that game. I just don't have an excuse to have a PlayStation 5 for that game. There's no reason I couldn't just keep my PlayStation 4 and play it there. It's still going to be a fun game. The combat's still going to be fun. The action set pieces with the quick time events is still going to look amazing and go, oh. Next up, we had Hogwarts Legacy. That's going to be an interesting one to see people react to, because on the one hand, hey, an action RPG game based in Hogwarts. That sounds pretty fun if you're a fan of the Harry Potter series. On the other hand, J.K. Rowling has been doing marketing no favours recently, and if you don't know what I'm talking about there, then you need to pay attention about what's going on in the world, because turns out J.K. Rowling is a terrible, terrible person who is a TERF, and a hateful little bitter of a woman. And aside from all that, even if you don't care about the politics of it all, if you're a huge Harry Potter fan, it's still not a reason to own a PlayStation 5 to play this game, because guess what? It's multi-platform. And it goes to the last-gen consoles as well. Next up, we had Black Ops something or other, Cold War. I haven't cared about any Black Ops games in just forever. Just who cares? The only thing I took away from their little gameplay demo was the I wish I was Doom glory kills, which just look ridiculous in the context of a militaristic shooter. What kind of soldier is trained to put a grenade in the front pocket of some guy, just kick him over there a bit? A fragmentation grenade, and just kick the guy over there a bit, and yeah, it's fine. It's just, it looked so stupid and so out of place and so gratuitous, I couldn't stop laughing. But even if you are the kind of paint-drinking moron who still enjoys Black Ops games for some reason, still not a reason to own a PlayStation 5, because guess what? Multi-generational and multi-platform. Resident Evil Village showed no gameplay still, but who cares? I don't really care about that series either, but I will tell you this, it does appear to be next-gen only. As far as I can tell, it's not coming to the existing gen, soon to be last-gen, but it is multi-platform, so you still don't need a PlayStation 5 for that. Deathloop is next, which was labelled as console exclusive, which is a little grey area, perhaps PlayStation 5 only, perhaps PlayStation 4 and 5, it seems unclear, but I can tell you it is also coming to PC, and as a first-person shooter, obviously, the PlayStation 5 is going to be the worst version, because thumbsticks on a first-person shooter are a lot worse than mouses are. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, a remake of an old game, and it launched a digital only, so it's not going to be a big fancy deal at all. Who cares that much about this enough to own a PlayStation 5? Nobody? I'm hoping. Oddworld Soulstorm, when they had a talking head on screen saying, made possible by PlayStation 5.
It's all made possible by the power of PlayStation 5.
Except it's not, because it's multi-platform and multi-generational. So there's nothing about the PlayStation 5 that makes that game possible in any way. And again, still not a reason to own a PlayStation 5. Friday Night's at Freddy Security Breach, another game series I have zero interest in. As far as I can tell, they haven't been clear about what platforms it's coming to yet. I did a bit of Googling on that, and it was just like, But even if it is PlayStation exclusive, there's no reason to get excited about it, because they haven't even showed any gameplay yet. It was just a pre-rendered cutscene, a little camera panning through a scene just to show off, presumably, ray tracing. Demon's Souls, pretty niche game. Those people who love those type of games probably love it quite a lot, but it is a decade-old game, and this is just a prettier remake of this decade-old game. I can't see this being a reason to own a PlayStation 5, even if you did like the series. Next was Fortnite. I mean, of course, Fortnite's on everything. Who cares? Can you imagine some 11-year-old going, "Mommy, I need the new PlayStation so I can play Fortnite slightly prettier"? Yeah, that's a convincing argument. Now, unless I missed something or I fell asleep or something, that's it for the games as far as my notes go. The next thing they showed off was PS Plus Collection, which appears to be Game Pass, except worse because it's only for last generation PlayStation 4 games. Whereas Xbox Game Pass, I get brand new games with that, even stuff like Flight Sim, which is a much more expensive than usual game. They even have early access games. You know, games that aren't even ready for launch yet, you can try out on Game Pass without splashing money down on a game that may or may not be any good because it's not done yet. Grounded, for example. That was one of the most recent examples of that. So, yeah, Xbox Game Pass still way better value than PlayStation Plus, even with this PS Plus Collections thing they got going on there. So, not a reason to own a PlayStation 5. Come to think of it, were they even clear about whether or not that was a PlayStation 5 exclusive feature? Because they are all PlayStation 4 games, so presumably the PS Plus Collection reflects on PlayStation 4 as well, right? If it doesn't, that'd be super dumb. You need to have PlayStation Plus on your PlayStation 5 to play PlayStation 4 game. No, there's no way that's how it happens. So still not a reason to own a PlayStation 5. And that was everything they showed off except for prices and dates. So absolutely zero reason that I can find to own a PlayStation 5 based on that presentation. So as far as pricing goes, at the top end, the big model, $499, exactly the same as the big model of the Xbox. No real surprises there. Some people were assuming they were going to undercut them a little, maybe go $479 or something cheeky like that. Maybe some retails will, or maybe there'll be, packs and things like that. They'll have extra controllers or game pack-ins and stuff, and you get a little bit of discount on that, but that'll be a retailer to the retailer thing. The lower tier model, which is basically exactly the same hardware, unlike Xbox, they're doing two different levels of hardware, basically. They've got the less powerful one and the big powerful one. PlayStations are both exactly the same power. The only real difference is one doesn't have a disk drive. And for the privilege of having a disk drive, you'll be paying $100 extra US. That's how much that drive costs, apparently. But their lower tier model, without the physical media drive, is $399. Compare that to $299 of Xbox's lower tier model. Not quite an apples for apples, because again, there'll be very different performance levels from those two. So what we have is a like-for-like $499, the big boy models. And much like the PlayStation 5, the Xbox has very few exclusive reasons to own it, especially if you've already got a gaming PC. But that's not why the Xbox exists, and that's not how they're marketing it. They're marketing it as a accessibility. You can buy this thing and just access all these games that you can play other places, but this is just one possibility into this world. Whereas PlayStation has spent a long time and much effort trying to position themselves as this. Well, this is where you can only do this on PlayStation. PlayStation is special, unique. We have exclusives that you really have to own a PlayStation to play, and to some extent that's true. But there's nothing for the PlayStation 5 that sings that song yet. So, it's going to be real interesting to see the sales numbers. It is fair to say that Sony have a lot of fanboy loyalty out there. The PlayStation 4 outsold the Xbox by a very wide margin. But are we going to see that flip-flop this generation because of the value proposition that Xbox gives you? Not just because of the hardware, and we are expecting Xbox's top-end hardware to be slightly more powerful than PlayStation 5's based on what we know so far. Again, it's going to have to wait to be sure. But everything else around the Xbox experience, the way Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and all that sort of stuff, the way that works, the value that gives you, I think the Xbox is a better proposition this coming generation, outside of any PlayStation 5 specific exclusives we might get down the line. But when we're talking about launch window stuff, if you're looking for a next-gen console and you're not a PC gamer, I think I'd lean towards recommending the Xbox over the PlayStation at this point. Quite frankly, I would heavily recommend thinking about moving to PC gaming at this point. We're getting some amazing hardware upgrades on the horizon here. PC gaming has been growing in leaps and bounds and tremendous strengths over the last little period of time. And I've talked about this in another video, but that may be partially due to us being stuck inside with the whole COVID thing, because more and more people are working from home, which means more and more people need a proper computer to do work from home properly, which means more and more people have a proper computer at home. When they're not working, they want to do other things with it, and that could be PC gaming. So that's we've seen that in the sales numbers. PC gaming is on the rise again. So it's going to be a very interesting generational pop come the end of the year. I can't wait to see how it all rolls out in a year's time. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty. We'll catch you next time. Thank you as always to the glorious patrons scrolling up above there. Thank you ever so much for your lovely and friendly and glorious support. Now, I'm going to go read the comments, which are all sure to be very calm and well thought out and sensible and logical.